I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer up business. More than half of Fortune 500 abandon HRC LGBTQ survey. More than half of Fortune 500 companies dropped out of a major LGBTQ plus workplace survey this year, even as many maintained or expanded inclusive policies. The Human Rights Campaign's annual Corporate Equality Index, or CEI, elevates non-discrimination policies, equitable benefits, inclusive workplace culture, and corporate social responsibility. In its 2026 report, HRC recorded a 65% drop in Fortune 500 participation from 377 companies to just 131. HRC noted that many companies exiting the survey hold federal contracts. However, the silver lining is that despite the decline in reporting, HRC's year-over-year analysis found that implementation of CEI measures was sustained or increased, with no declines across any criteria. Several large companies, including Tractor Supply, Ford, Lowe's, and Walmart, publicly walked back DEI efforts during the 2024 presidential campaign and early in the president's second term, and did not participate in the latest index. HRC emphasized that not reporting does not necessarily mean initiatives have stopped. Overall, 1,450 companies participated in the 2026 CEI. Of those, 534 earned a perfect score of 100, representing nearly 6 million U.S. employees. HRC research shows companies with transparent, queer, inclusive policies average net incomes more than 8 times higher than their peers. Well, it's always nice to see the LGBTQ world, when they constantly are looking for support from corporations, fall flat on their face, as HRC did once again. HRC's staff has heard my rantings on this more than once. That one, their scorecard doesn't in any way intake place workers' perspectives or union or labor perspective. That's a huge problem with these things. But also just I want to remind everybody, HRC is trying to walk this back. They have federal contracts. If you're a little firm with 2 or 3 contracts and the government is one of them, okay, I can understand where you come from. We're talking about the Fortune 500. These are not itty-bitty companies. Some of the Fortune 500 include things like OpenAI and the big chip company, NVIDIA, and all those big super companies. This is absolutely appalling, and I would like to remind people that for a Fortune 5 company to say, oh, well, our federal contracts mean more than the LGBTQ community, think about how little we matter. And think about how the Human Rights Campaign, also known as the Champagne Society, as far as I'm concerned, how much they think we should grovel for them to just answer a survey that doesn't even include worker perspectives. So that's my first thought. The last thing I'll say is, HRC says, well, they 6 million workers in these 500-something companies that all got 100% scores. Talk about handing out participation trophies. 6 million, that represents less than 3.5% of the American labor force, just so we're all aware. But you can all tell me how much you love capitalism now.
Come on,
really
right?
Feel.
Well, I mean, I reserve.
I know.
I mean, for me,
work.
Thank you, Daniken.
Yes.
I mean, for me, these surveys they're pointless, right? So what? A company did not fill out their little paperwork to let them know that they're, not firing gay people. You have a point there. Actions speak louder than words. A lot of these companies, have a little bit more on their plate to deal with rather than filling out somebody's survey. Just because, like they said, just because the company didn't fill out the survey doesn't mean that they are doing something bad. And so I think that, we want to villainize somebody for not doing something that HRC, is putting out there. HRC, as far as I'm concerned, is a made-up organization. Somebody decided we needed it. And, quite honestly, they have done, they have done good in the past. But as you said, to me, the HRC has gotten to be basically, give me your money and I'll give you a sticker. And
it is very fair to ask, what has the Human Rights Campaign done legislatively over 40 years of being an organization? I say that as someone who's been part of plenty of organizations where we don't always pass much, but you at least have a rough idea. I think HRC, they've allowed us to get killed for our country. Hooray.
Oh my goodness, I feel like we're having multiple mic drop moments.
I know, right?
All I know is that I have an HRC sticker on my laptop, which I guess I should take off.
No, look, the idea of HRC is definitely, nice. The idea of HRC as an organization is needed. 100%. Human rights needs advocates because there are people out there that cannot advocate for themselves. So the need for it there. Is this organization as 100% as it should be? No. Do sending out surveys in general, not just HRC, but from any organization, really matter in the grand scheme of things? Sort of. It may or may not give us some sort of insight into what's going on into our world. What matters is what we do with the data. What matters is how we act to the data. Anybody can call you up and say, do you support X, Y, or Z? Are you gay? Are you this? Are you that? But if that data goes nowhere, which is unfortunately what usually happens, we just report on the data and this is what happens, but nobody takes action on it. And so that's where I think Alex is saying that we fall short, especially with the HRC. They have data. They're crying that people are pulling out from doing their survey. But once they get that data, what are they doing with it, and how are they enacting or helping pass legislation or talking to organizations or talking to Fortune 500 companies to say, hey, you shouldn't do this or you should do that.
The only thing I'll say is, yes, filling out a survey, but it's not that hard for a big company. They've done it for years. That being said, the fact that HRC allows the company to do this and doesn't actually do the actual work of talking to people and researching it. When I work, people know I work in restaurant research stuff. There are sometimes we'll talk to a restaurant owner, but if we're worried that the restaurant owner is doing bad things, we don't ask the restaurant owner, are you doing bad things? We would talk to the workers. You would talk to the labor representatives. You would look at their website and see what they do. There's other ways that HRC can determine this.
It's like grading your own paper.
I think as a society, we've really been captured by corporatism. And it sounds like, they are trying to really appease, their corporate overlords, like we all are. It's just, whether we like it or not, we use Netflix, we shop at, what does Jeff Bezos own? He owns
everything.
Everything. Yes. Amazon. All these things. It's we want to be able to live these comfortable lives, and people want to be able to draw their incomes. I'm not saying anybody's wrong for needing to live in this society. Until there's a better way of doing things that everybody can agree on. We gotta, we have to play by certain rules.
If HRC offered me a check, I'd cash it. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they'd ever talk.
I did not get that from you, from what you said, but yes. Okay.
Someone's got surviving capitalism, girl. You can't have the revolution on no money.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying is, it's just that, we all, learn the lane that we need to be in, and they've learned what lane seems to work for them. And you get these people that have reactions about hearing HRC being brought up because they don't feel like they do much. And all I could say is do better, please, for our community. We need you in these times. Not just being pretty, not just, collecting money for stickers, all of that, but really, doing some work. So we implore you to do better.
And with that, there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.